Air law for Canadian drone pilots. What to study without going crazy. Hi there. If you've been digging through the Canadian aviation regulations trying to figure out what to study for the basic drone pilot certificate, and you're getting confused only a few lines into the definitions section, don't worry. You're not doing it wrong. It really is that bad. But in this video, I'll show you what you actually need to know, where to find reliable info for free, and how to avoid wasting time chasing legal footnotes. Let's start with what this part of the exam actually covers. Air law, traffic rules, and procedures is about who controls Canadian airspace, where you're allowed to fly your drone, what kind of permission you may need, and how to avoid interfering with other aircraft. It sounds like it should be obvious, but once you dive into the actual rules, you quickly realize that everything's wrapped into bureaucratic language and legal amendments. The actual laws are written in the Canadian Aviation Regulations, or CARS. Part 9 is where the drone-specific rules live. But here's the thing. The CARS aren't meant to teach you. They're more like the fine print. When the rules change, they just add a note saying repealed, along with the reference number like SOR/2025-70. There's no explanation, no replacement, just a void. So if you're reading the regs, you think, wait, was that important? What replaces this? Don't panic. It's not meant to be readable. The exam won't test you on repealed terms. So where should you focus your energy? There are 3 free official sources I can recommend. The first one is called TP15263E. Knowledge Requirements for RPAS Pilots. This PDF is basically your syllabus. It lists all the topic Transport Canada expects you to know, both for basic and advanced certificates. It is a bit dry, but it's the most important guide. Link is in the description. When you look at the document, you will see it divided into charts for the type of operation, basic and advanced. Check marks indicate what you need to know for either exam. The center column references the section in the Canadian Aviation Regulations, and the last one has simple learning objectives. So, as you can imagine, it makes sense to look up the sections and try to read through them one by one. And that's actually your second official resource. It starts with some sections out of Part 1, mostly definitions, some information on where and to whom the regulations apply, and a bit about documentations and record-keeping requirement. Sections from Part 3 about aerodromes and airports are mentioned, but for the basic license, you don't have to dive that deep into those. Just know the limitations of basic operations. Details about the various types of aerodromes will become important once you shoot for the advanced license. For now, just know how far away from an airport or heliport you need to stay with your drone. Definitely know that manned aircraft always have the right of way and that you need to stay out of their way at all times. Part 6 also has some sections you will have to become familiar with. It's mostly about restrictions that are in place to improve safety. For example, know about the restrictions to operations in the vicinity of forest fire areas, which can be found in section 601.15. You may have seen reports on the news where drones have put aircraft pilots in danger as they were trying to fight wildfires. You can expect to find a question about that. The regulations that are specifically about drones are all in Part 9. I would recommend reading that entirely. It's not a smooth read, so don't go crazy over trying to figure out the exact meaning of every section. Just get an idea of what to find where. As pointed out in my previous video, you are allowed to dig into your reference material and even Google the answers during your exam. The third official resource is the Transport Canada Aeronautical Information Manual, also known as AIM. It's a plain English reference that explains Canadian airspace, communication procedures, weather, and navigation. There's a whole section on drones, and unlike the cars, it is written in plain English. You can download it for free. Link in the description. The fourth, and in my opinion best available resource, is Don Joyce's YouTube channel. It's not an official publication like the ones from Transport Canada, but the content is well explained and translated into Don speak, which is probably closer to your own language. You will find an entire playlist about what to study for the basic exam, including several videos about rules and procedures you need to know. If you prefer to learn by watching, this might be your ticket. There's a wealth of knowledge waiting for you. All you have to do is take the time to watch the videos and then find a way to retain the information. It's thanks to Don Joyce that I was able to pass both the basic and the advanced exam on the first attempt. I highly recommend his channel, so it's linked below. Another valuable resource may be rpascenter.com. They have free courses and mock exams that you can take after creating a profile. I'll include a link. You'll come across definitions that may be new to you but will pop up a lot. Some have been repealed in the newest version of the car, while others remain current. Your drone is an RPAS, and you have to keep it within VLOS. Know the difference between controlled and uncontrolled airspace. Know that you have to stay 30 meters or 100 feet away from bystanders. Whoa. And know the definition of bystanders. If you invite your buddy to join you while you're flying, he becomes a person involved in your operation, which means he's not a bystander. Get it? Know that you can't exceed 120 meters in AGL, which means above ground level. Know the difference between a basic and an advanced operation. I already discussed the requirement to register your drone and carry your documentation with you when you're flying. You will find that you also need to keep a log of your flights and the maintenance of your drone. Another requirement is to keep a copy of the user manual for your drone with you when you're flying. Any of the stuff could pop up in the questions. You should know relevant numbers like distances and weight restrictions. Example, small RPAS can weigh anywhere from 250 grams to 25 kilos. Also know that you're not allowed to carry payloads during basic operations and be able to define payload. It's all in the material. I can't save you from studying it completely. However, if you'd like to try the exam without studying, it only costs you $10. You will probably end up Googling some questions during the exam, so be ready for that. It's important to use exact wording if you do so. Here are some suggestions on how you could study. Start with TP 15263E and highlight the requirements in the air law section. Cross-check tricky topics in the AIM to get a clearer explanation. Then watch Don Joyce's videos to reinforce what you're reading. And finally, take free online practice tests to build confidence. Make yourself a notebook with all the key terms. You don't need to memorize the entire course. Just understand how to fly legally and responsibly. You don't need to worry about repealed definitions with legal codes and exact wording of amendments and full citations or internal CARS cross-references. Blah. The basic exam is not there to trick you. It's to make sure you can fly safely in Canadian airspace.
Yeah.
Stick to the core knowledge and you'll be fine. So there you have it. This is your starting point for the air law and rules as a drone pilot in Canada. If you found this helpful, feel free to like, subscribe, drop a question in the comments, or buy me a coffee. Did I mention I like coffee? I'll be covering more study topics in this series, like airspace, weather, human factors. So stay tuned if you're working towards your license. Maybe my videos can make it just that little bit easier for you. If you'd like to know what other topics to expect in this exam, watch the video that's on the screen right now, and I'll see you there. Thanks for watching and happy flying!